when the Democrats were passing their first partisan spending bill back in February, I warned at the time that this was going to lead to inflation. And obviously, we have inflation, the biggest inflation now literally in over 30 years, impacting the pocketbook of every American. And as the Democrats now contemplate yet another tax and spending spree that would recklessly and radically try to transform and change our government and our country, but just as importantly, perhaps more importantly to the average American, is going to lead to further inflation, as the leader mentioned. And if you look at the dimensions of this thing that's being talked about, the Democrats are talking about spending, on the order of a couple $1 trillion financed with 1.5 or 1.8 trillion dollars in tax cuts, or tax increases, I should say. But if you look at what independent analysts have come up with, Penn Wharton is a very reliable model on this. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget has also looked at it. Both have concluded that when fully implemented, if these programs are extended, and we believe that is the intention of the Democrats, is to get them embedded and then to make them permanent, the 10-year cost of this is on the order of $5 trillion, which would leave you about $3 trillion of debt. You'd be adding it to the debt. And the individual components of this bill are awful, and you all have heard and seen many of the provisions, but we pay a lot of attention to agriculture in my state. There are a couple of provisions in there. One that adds a couple of $100 million for urban agriculture. Not sure what that means, urban agriculture. There's over $3 billion in the bill for tree equity. Evidently, we need more balance among the trees that are planted out there. I don't know. But this stuff is just crazy. And if you look at what the impact of the lifting the cap and deductibility of state and local taxes would be, and how that would affect states around this country, you would have states like South Dakota, states in the middle of the country that are low-tax states, subsidizing high-tax states like New York and Connecticut and California, and delivering tax cuts. They're raising taxes in the bill, but cutting taxes for millionaires in people in states like California, Connecticut, and New York. So this is just fraught with lots of problems. The American people recognize that, which is why they're turning on it so quickly, and why the Democrats are so desperately trying to pass it before the Christmas holiday. They know that as this thing is exposed to the public, that they're going to start losing more and more of their members. And what I would say is all it takes is one Democrat. One Democrat can stop this in its tracks and prevent this big government socialist idea from ever becoming law. I hope that we'll have a brave Democrat or two who will step forward and do just that, because they will be doing a huge favor to the American people who are going to pay the price and the cost of this reckless, radical tax and spending spree.